Welcome to The Explainer. Sometimes the biggest stories are found in the most unexpected places. Today, we're heading out to West Texas for a real estate showdown between two cities that are practically neighbors, Midland and Odessa. Now, they're just a quick drive from each other, but believe me, when you look at their housing markets, they're playing two totally different ballgames. So let's get into it and figure out what's really going on. So, which market really comes out on top? You see the for sale signs, you hear the buzz, but what's the actual story? Well, we've spent months crunching the real estate data to give you the real deal comparison. We're going to get into the numbers that really matter, whether you're thinking of buying, selling, or you're just, fascinated by how these markets work. Okay, so here's how we're going to tackle this. We're looking at four key things. First, the price check. Then we'll dive into market speed and supply. After that, sales activity and demand. And finally, we'll wrap it all up with your final takeaway. All right, section 1, the price check. Let's get right to it, the number one question on everybody's mind. How much does it actually cost to buy a home here? Okay, let's kick things off in Midland. In May of this year, the median sales price for a single-family home came in at $360,000. That's our starting point. Now hop over to Odessa and you see a pretty different picture. For that exact same time period, the median sales price was a whole lot lower, landing at $280,000. And when you put them side by side like this, wow, it really pops. We're talking about an $80,000 difference. For two cities that are literally right next to each other, that is a huge, huge gap for anyone looking to buy a home. But, and this is really interesting, it's not just about the sticker price. Take a look at how those prices have changed over the last year. Yeah, Midland is more expensive, but Odessa's prices are actually climbing faster, up 4.2% compared to Midland's 2.9%. What does that mean? Well, it suggests that affordability gap we just saw might actually be starting to close. Okay, so price is one thing, but it's only part of the puzzle, right? The other crucial piece is speed. How fast are these homes flying off the market? Let's dive into section 2, market speed and supply. So before we get into the nitty-gritty, there's a term you gotta know. Month supply of inventory, or MSI. It sounds kind of technical, but the idea is simple. Imagine if no new homes were put up for sale starting today. MSI tells you how many months it would take to sell every single house currently on the market. It's a fantastic way to get a feel for supply and demand. Anything under 6 months usually means sellers have the upper hand. Okay, with that in mind, let's look at the numbers. In Midland, you're looking at 2.75 months of supply. That's definitely a seller's market. But then you look at Odessa. Whoa, it's down at just 1.73 months. That's not just a seller's market, that is a market on fire. It means inventory is incredibly tight and buyers are likely fighting over what little is available. And that super tight inventory in Odessa, well, it has a direct impact on how fast things are moving. Just look at this. Last year, a typical home was on the market for 22 days. This year, it's down to just 16. 16 days. Homes are barely hitting the market before they're snapped up. So let's just boil it down. For sellers, Odessa is where the action is. It's a fast, competitive market where you have the advantage. For buyers, Midland offers a little more breathing room. You've got more options and a bit more time to think, which can make a world of difference. All right, section 3. We've talked price, we've talked pace, but what about the actual sales? Who is buying these homes and what are they looking for? Let's dig into the sales activity and demand. This right here tells you exactly where the sweet spot is in each city. You can see in Midland, the most action is happening in that $300,000 to $400,000 range. But in Odessa, it's all about that more affordable $200,000 to $300,000 bracket. And check out the high end. Midland sold 43 homes over $500,000. Odessa, just 9. That tells you a lot about the different buyer profiles right there. Okay, this quote is a real eye-opener. It perfectly captures just how intense things are. In Odessa, sellers are getting 100% of their original asking price. 100%. That means bidding wars are likely common, and there's just no room for negotiation. It all goes back to that super low inventory, creating fierce, fierce competition. And this is fascinating. How are people actually paying for these houses? In Odessa, look at this. More than half of all sales, 56%, were financed with FHA loans. Now, FHA loans are really popular with first-time homebuyers because of the lower down payment requirements. This is pretty clear proof that Odessa's more affordable market is drawing in a whole different kind of buyer. Okay, we have looked at a ton of data. Prices, speed, demand. So let's pull all these threads together for our final takeaway. What does this all really mean for you? So here's the bottom line. Midland is your higher-priced, more balanced market. There's more to choose from, especially if you're looking for homes over $300,000, and buyers have a little more leverage. Odessa, on the other hand, is the affordable, fast and furious market. Inventory is razor-thin, competition is fierce, and it is a seller's paradise, especially for homes under that 300K mark. So even though they're neighbors, they offer two completely different real estate experiences.
You know, the data tells a really compelling story about what's happening right now. But it also leaves us with this one big question looking forward. With inventory being this tight in both cities as we roll into the summer, the busiest time of year for real estate, you really have to wonder, are we about to see prices surge even higher across all of West Texas? It's something we'll definitely be keeping an eye on.